guys, we're just about ready to go. Coming to you from, again, Voodoo Wings, now open here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Come check them out. Right across from Waffle House down here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I actually have 3 locations. This is the 3rd, just opened this week. Come check them out. Tons of great wing options. And here's our menu real quick. I want to show it before we get started. Tons of wings to choose from. We're going to give them a try after the show, so be sure and come in and tell them BamaInsider.com sent you. Tonight on the prediction show, that's what I'm calling it. What is going on with this guy? Let me get this. Sometimes things happen on the flies, ladies and gentlemen, so just try to fix that. All right, so theoretically, here's how I want the show to work. I want you guys to call in, provide a score prediction, right? Tony, we already provided ours.
Right.
And get your chance to win a gift card to the Alumni Hall store here in Tuscaloosa or to Voodoo Wings. So definitely call in to the show. The call-in line is now open, actually. We're just going to jump right into it. So 205-686 3604 is the call-in line, and you can call and chat with Tony Sukalis and I. Tony Sukalis is our team rider, and there's a lot to talk about, Tony, this week. I mean, it was kind of like the news got bigger as we got closer to this game, right?
Right. I mean, a lot of it was negative at first, definitely.
Here we go. First call. All right. All right, hello, you're on the line, the Voodoo Wings line with Kyle Henderson and Tony Sukalis. Where are you calling from, and who are we on the line with?
Hunter from Hartford, Alabama.
Hey, what's up, buddy? How you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, man. What's your score prediction?
I'm going to say 43 to 14.
You're picking Alabama to win, right?
Oh, of course.
Hey, for a tiebreaker, give me a game MVP. Who do you think is going to shine in a game like this?
I think on the defensive side of the ball, I think if Jalen Moody gets in the game, I think I've seen him have those sparks of greatness last year when he did get to play. Offensively, I think we'll see Jalen Waddle break out of his shell a lot more because some of the receivers are going to be out for the first quarter at least. So look for those 2 players.
All right, well, I appreciate the call. Before we let you go, were you surprised by the suspension news? Now, we don't know if the suspension news is even going to be true, but were you surprised to hear those 4 names mentioned in the suspension headlines?
Yeah, but I have some sources that I know in Tuscaloosa that are close to the program, and they told me that they were team violation rules. There's nothing major, but that's just how Nick Saban is, and he is very strict about discipline, so I wasn't surprised to see him set them guys out just to show everybody that no matter who you are on the team, you still got to play by the rules.
Hey, well, thanks for calling tonight, and be sure and check out Voodoo Wings here in Tuscaloosa.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Right, appreciate it, buddy. All right, just like that, we got our first caller in. My name is Kyle Henderson. I'm sure you've seen me before. This is Tony Sukalis. He's our team rider along with Andrew Bone. Tony, when we look at this team, the suspensions, I mean, it wasn't necessarily a bombshell, was it?
No, but there was 4 key names. I mean, you look at it, 2 top running backs, Najee Harris, Brian Robinson Jr. You got your outside linebacker in Terrell Lewis, and then the top receiver as well in Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith, and so 4 key guys, and that's going to be big losses. I don't know how long they're going to be out. We've heard a half, we've heard a quarter. It could just be a series, but. It's a group of players that will be missed, but I don't think it's going to be really influential in the game itself.
Now, when you look at this matchup, obviously Alabama the big favorite, 35 points according to Westgate Superbook. Looks like a lot of freshmen are going to be in the mix in this game, and I tweeted about this earlier. They say freshmen don't play at Alabama. Well, there's a potential that we could see 6 potentially start.
Right. Well, obviously, we mentioned the running back, so we'll start there with Keelan Robinson could come in and start. I mean, you look at that guy. He was a month ago. He's probably the 5th option at running back, and now he's a guy that could potentially start. Staying on offense, you've got Evan Neal. Looks like he's pretty much locked down that left guard role. He's 6'7", 360-pound lineman and strong, hard to move kind of guy. I'm really expecting a lot of big things from him. On the defensive side of the ball, you've got DJ Dale at nose guard, and then you've got a pair of freshman linebackers in the middle of the front 7 and Christian Harris and Shane Lee. Talk talk about the heart of the defense, it's going to be very young. And then at kicker, you have Will Reichert, who might actually end. Tonight we learned that he's going to share the punting duties as well with Skylar DeLong. So, yeah, that's 6 of them right there.
6 true freshmen playing in this opener against Duke. I'm going to open up the call line again. Call in, and I want the show to work. Is you guys call in, make your prediction, call 205-686-3604. Call the Voodoo Wing call-in line, leave your score prediction, and get a shot to win a $25 gift certificate to Alumni Hall and also a gift certificate to Voodoo Wings. Just open up here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. So all you got to do is call in 205-686-3604 and chat with myself, Kyle Henderson, and Tony Zukalis. I think, when you look at a game like this, Alabama, the strong favorite, but I think clearly Nick Saban wants to send a message in this first game. I think he knows that this team is talented. I think that the team knows that they're extremely talented, but you got to get up for this game. You got to somehow send a message, and I think Nick Saban, he mentioned this several times. It's a character check. He hasn't commented on the suspensions, but the loss of Dylan Moses, it's a big loss, right, for this team. It's a character check.
Right. The loss of Dylan Moses, let's not forget about the loss of Joshua McMillan as well.
We got another call coming in. Sorry to interrupt you, Tony. All right. Thank you for calling tonight. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson and Tony Stukalis. You're on the Voodoo Wings hotline. Who am I on the line with and where are you calling from?
What's up, guys? This is Jared from Buffalo, man. How you doing?
Hey, what's up, man? How are your the Bills Mafia doing, man?
Oh man, they're super hyped. They're super hyped. Everyone's expecting them to make the playoffs, but I'm not jumping on that boat yet.
All right, man. Post your what's your score prediction for this game and give me a game MVP.
Wait. Can you repeat that?
Give us a score prediction and give us a game MVP.
I think Alabama wins this game 52-17.
Okay.
I think 52-17. I think that they'll struggle at first. I think with the defensively, when it comes to the communication. But I think overall wise they'll adapt to it. I think MVP. I'm going to say Jalen Waddle. I think that from what we've been hearing for Jalen Waddle, the fact that he's going to be more involved, especially in special teams wise, potentially jet sweeps and. What he can do in the slide and what he can do out wide. I think that Jalen Waddle is going to play a huge factor in this football game, so I'll say that he's the MVP.
That's 2 for Jalen Waddle.
Yeah, two calls for Jalen Waddle getting a lot of love, and I think you're right. I mean, you look at a player like Jalen Waddle, and you think that he's a player that he's very dynamic. I think that he could be the most dangerous player in all of college football. Now, let me ask you, Jack, when you look at this team, the loss of Dylan Moses. Monumental news. What were your thoughts when you heard about Dylan Moses being out for the entire season?
Oh, I almost cried when I heard that, Kyle.
Yeah.
It was devastating. But the more I thought about it, I'm like, short-term wise, this could help because not only are you missing a leader, but you're missing a huge part. That's the quarterback of your team. That's the communicator. But I think that those Dylan Moses, Josh McMillan, those guys will, they'll try to mentor Christian Harris and Shane Lee the best they can. I think long-term wise, this can help Alabama because, for the next 2 to 3 years, you have your two guys, those two security blankets at linebacker position set, and looking at these guys, 250 and one of them being 244 with the type of athletic ability and the IQ that those two players have, I think it could be very, very beneficial. Now against Georgia and Clemson, against those type of teams where, the offenses are, they're very unique, and of course the talent level it's equal. They could struggle, but I think overall wise, I think long term, it's really going to help the program.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, great call. Tony, you've seen the linebackers. You've been there all fall camp. You're there every single day. What are your early thoughts on Shane Lee and Christian Harris and how you feel they're going to step up in a game like this?
Well, I'm really excited about seeing Shane Lee tonight on the Nick Saban show. Nick Saban called him a thumper, and I think that's kind of an accurate description. He's kind of a throwback to maybe some of the Alabama linebackers of old. He's a little bit thicker. I'm excited to see what he brings. And then Christian Harris is a person that, didn't even really play linebacker in high school. So it's somebody that played cornerback and wide receiver. And I think he's going to be great in coverage. He's also going to be a great athlete as well and be able to show a lot of range on the field. So really excited about both of them. And I think if you are going to have to deal with freshmen at that position early in the season is when you want to do it because you give them time to learn and maybe those important games later on they might be more ready for it at that point.
Hey, man, anything else you got before we let you go, man?
Yeah, I'm gonna say it is because I'm just gonna say this. Shane Lee reminds me a lot of Denzel Perryman. Like the way he plays, the way that his build is. Denzel Perryman, I think, was in a very similar situation to Miami, where I think one of their linebackers got hurt. He was thrown into the fray, not as a freshman, but he's a guy that had zero to no playing experience, and at the end of the day, he turned out to be one of the best prospects that maybe Miami has had at the linebacking position. And very similar size, 5'11", 250 pounds, built like a muscle hamster. So Shane Lee, I really like him. Yeah, I like him a lot. I really like him a lot. I watched the E60 series for St. Francis Academy. He's a very tough kid. Came from a very, very tough place where they practice on the streets with bottles all over the place. So I know that he's a very, very tough kid, very intelligent type of individual. I'll be rooting for him and Christian Harris as well.
Hey, great call, man. Please call again next time, all right?
All right, sure.
Take it easy, buddy.
I like that muscle hamster.
Muscle hamster, I like that, right?
Shane Lee.
Is it better than, what's Giles Amos's nickname, though?
Trailer Park Jesus.
No better name, right?
I don't know. I like muscle hamster.
205-686-3604. It's Kyle Henderson. Tony Sucals coming to you from Voodoo Wings here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. They just opened up this week, and we're already in here for wings. So be sure and come in here before your game. Pick up, they got a great menu. I'll show you the menu right now. You can throw that menu together pretty nicely. You can get that 100-piece of wings for you and your buddies. You can hang out and you can eat wings all day and then go watch, Alabama in their home opener against the New Mexico State Aggies, where, that's my alma mater. Next weekend. It's unbelievable that they're coming. Yeah, that they're coming. So I'm excited. I'm going to have Pops in town next week to, come watch New Mexico State and Alabama. I'm sure the spread on that game is going to be like 50 or something like that. Call-in line is open, 205-686-3604. I think when you look at this game, Tony, in an opener like that, and by the way, if someone has that Clemson-Georgia Tech score, could they please post it in the comment box? They don't have it on at Voodoo Wings, although they do have a nice setup and they have some TVs in here. But they don't have the Clemson game. I'm trying to figure out what score is.
I'm still trying to figure out what channel it's on because of the ACC network.
Slide this mic just a little bit like that. Now, I had the ACC network and I had YouTube TV, so I don't know. But as I was saying, I think when you look at a game like this, I think it's important that this team, really comes out and makes a statement. I really want to see the progression of Tua Tagovailoa. I want to see the offense under Steve Sarkisian and how he's going to implement this play action attack with the run first mentality. And by the way, thanks for the update on the score, 28-0. No surprise. Georgia Tech's offense, I don't want to hate on any team, but they seriously, is it safe to say they're straight trash? They were just like,
I didn't get to see much of the game yet.
The offense was terrible. Jeez. No. What about you, Tony? How important is it for Alabama to come out and make a statement against Duke and play? No one can play perfect, but you need to execute the way Alabama is able to execute with so much talent on this team.
I think you're just going to want to see how they handle their first game experience, and especially with the younger players, what kind of mentality they come out with. And I think actually more important than the actual results on the field is just the mentality that this team takes. I don't think there's any doubt that they're going to beat Duke. I think what Saban's looking for is to make sure this team's locked in from the start. I think we talked about it earlier, the message that he was sending with some of these suspensions. And so I think really it's making sure everyone's head's screwed on the right way and making sure the mentality's there, because I think the result's going to handle itself.
We're coming to you from Voodoo Wings, and actually, here's the menu. Here's their first menu, and I think that's their second menu. But I also wanted to tell you about the call-in show. So let's see if I can get this playing. So here's how it works, all right? You're going to call in to, let's see if I can take this out. I do a lot of this stuff on the fly, so how it works. Call into the show, make a game score prediction. If you get the score right, you get a $25 gift card to Alumni Hall here in Tuscaloosa. You're also going to get a gift card to Voodoo Wings. It's a great deal. Call in 205-686-3604. I'll even do you one better, and that can be, subscribing to BamaInsider.com. So call in and talk with Tony Sucals and I. We're coming to you from Voodoo Wings here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And let's get us back on the show. Where's our little chat friend? There we go.
There it is.
And I think also when you look at a game like this, a lot of eyes are going to be on this defense. And the middle linebackers, it's concerning just because they're both freshmen, but I also want to see, how the defensive line plays. I want to see an improvement from Raekwon Davis. I think everyone wants to see how Raekwon Davis can do. And the scary fact is that Duke has 2 freshmen playing at the tackle position. What have you seen from Raekwon Davis?
He's we got to see little bits in practice, but not a lot. The thing about Raekwon that you really take note in is the fact that he noted that his game wasn't where it needed to be last year, and that he's coming into this year with he's really matured. It seems like he's the old man of that group, and he is, but he's taken a very matured approach to things, and I think he's really laser focused, and he knows that he kind of threw away an opportunity to be a first-round draft pick last year, and I don't think he expected to be here this year. I don't think he minds being here this year, but he definitely expected to be an NFL draft pick last year, and I think he kind of blew that opportunity for last year. Now he's going to make the most of it this year.
Yeah, I think, I agree with you. I think what Nick Saban has said about Raekwon Davis is one thing that's really stood out to me is the leadership. And I think that he knows what's at stake this year, not only for Alabama as a team, but for himself individually, because a lot of eyeballs are looking at Raekwon Davis. He's got this 6'7", 315-pound, really chiseled athlete on the edge coming at quarterbacks. And when you only had a sack and a half last year, kind of a head scratcher. So,
and he was facing a lot of double teams last year as well, and he's going to be facing those again this year. But that might have been difficult for him to deal with, facing more double teams. Maybe he's used to that. Maybe I think he really knows what he needs to do to perform, and I think he's ready to do it now. I think you're going to see more of the sophomore Raekwon than you are going to see what he did his junior year.
Call-in line is open, 205-686-3604. Make a prediction. You can also post your prediction right here in the comment box, but I prefer you call in. Catch up with Tony Tsoukalas and myself. Got another caller coming in from Ireland. All right. Good evening. How you doing? It's Kyle Henderson and Tony Tsoukalas on the Voodoo Wings call-in line. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling from?
Calling from Maryland.
Okay. What was your first name, sir?
Derek.
Okay. All right. First off, let's start with the score prediction.
I think 48-10.
Okay, 48-10. You're taking Alabama, I assume?
Of course. Of course.
All right, give me a game MVP for a tiebreaker.
I'm thinking somebody in the secondary. Sertan, maybe, an interception.
Yeah.
I believe going up against a first-year starter, they, mix in some good coverages, pick him off early in the game, turnovers.
Yeah, no. I think that could be a good call. I almost went with Xavier McKinney myself. I just think that, being one of the leaders of this defense, that you could certainly rise up and, have a couple of interception for a touchdown or something like that. Being from the Maryland area, have you had a chance to see Alabama 5-star commit Chris Broswell, and what are your thoughts on him, if so?
No, actually, I have not had a chance to see him, but I live on the other side of Maryland. He lives in Baltimore.
Yeah.
It's about a 40-minute drive, but I'm definitely looking to go to one of their games coming up these next couple of weeks.
I'm kind of curious myself to see if Alabama can keep that DMV pipeline going now with Mike Locksley in Maryland as a head football coach, because as you know, there's a lot of talent in that area, and Nick Saban and Alabama have been able to go to that area and pull some big-time prospects. Do you think that could continue, or do you think Mike Locksley is going to build a wall around Maryland, so to speak?
Of course, no. I mean, no offense, but Maryland plays in the Big Ten now. We're in the SEC.
Yeah.
I actually live down the street from DeMatha, where he's recruited great players in the last decade. So I've seen a couple of prospects, good counsel, the private school in Montgomery County. So, no, I don't believe that will play a factor in recruiting at all.
All right. Anything else while you're on the show tonight?
No, that's all. Roll Tide.
Well, I know you're a first-time caller, so please call again. We're going to do this show on Thursday before each game, and then again on Sunday is when I have my call-in show, and you come and break down everything, and we pretend we're, college football coaches, and we dissect everything, go over player grades and things that stood out. So please call again. Feel free to call in, and we appreciate the call-in tonight.
Indeed. Thank you.
All right, take it easy, buddy.
You too.
All right, call line is open once again. You're on, coming to you. My name is Kyle Henderson. This is Tony Sukalis. Hope you guys like the coverage for fall camp. I was looking over the fall camp coverage today, and I think, the content was banging. I mean, every single day there's something. Tony, is, always cranking out the stories. Andrew Bone, as you know, he was on the YouTube channel earlier talking recruiting. And myself, I wear many different hats and would really appreciate it if you gave us an opportunity for your business. Go to BamaInsider.com, subscribe, get free 30 days. The promo code is simply Roll Tide. I'm talking quality content that, you deserve as an Alabama Crimson Tide football fan. Voodoo Wings is now opened here in Tuscaloosa. I like their logo, by the way. It's a nice logo.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's like a New Orleans feel to it, which makes sense because voodoo.
Here's their menu, by the way. Ton of options. Plenty of wing flavors to choose from. Heard their ranch is excellent. I'm a big fan of the wings with the ranch. Obviously, we can't eat wings while we're doing the show, but
it'd be kind of sloppy.
Yeah. Hey, what? Can someone keep updating us with that Clemson Georgia Tech score? And by the way, the call line is open 205-686-3604. The last caller had a good point, about someone in the defense, because I almost went with a MVP from the secondary. Xavier McKinney's played really strong during fall camp, even played well during last season. Jared Maiden comes back.
About Trayvon Diggs too. I mean, he was probably the best cornerback on the team before he went down last year. So
yeah, he's back, and he's a big physical corner. I mean, Alabama has, if they do have Surtain and Diggs at the corner position, those are big corners. What do you think about Josh Jobe? He'll be a sophomore that's starting when they go to the nickel package.
I mean, no, I think he's going to start. When he goes to the nickel package, and you got to think they play most of their snaps out of that nickel package, so he'll essentially be the starter. He's somebody that played his way into the first team defense. I mean, we saw him last time we saw him was against Clemson. It wasn't as great of a performance, but he was kind of thrown into the fire against one of the best receiving corps in the nation. So I think we're going to see a big improved performance from him. And obviously, if he worked his way into this secondary with the people that we named that are coming back, he's right up there with that level. They wouldn't put him in there if he's not ready for it. So I think big things from him. He's a guy that was making a lot of noise coming out of the recruiting scene heading into Alabama, so it's not really surprising to see him kind of elevate himself early on in his career. I like him on the outside, and I think it sounds like Patrick Surtain has done a really good job of switching into that star role, which is not an easy position to play. It requires a lot of knowledge of the defense. I think they tried to play him there early last season, and he couldn't. It's really hard to do that as a true freshman. So I think with an extra year under his belt, he's going to be able to handle that. I mean, that's the role that Minkah Fitzpatrick played. You really got to know the defense to play there.
Now, I'm kind of curious, and I get this question a lot when I do the show, Tony, is a lot of people ask about Shaheem Carter and what will his role be on this team. He's a senior. He's a leader of this team, but it doesn't look like he's going to be in that starting 11 on defense. What's your take on Shaheem Carter, and how do you think he'll be used this season?
Currently, he's been the safety out of the dime package. So when Xavier McKinney plays up at money, then Shaheem slots next to Jared Maiden. That's what we've seen in practice. There has been a little bit of a confusion of where's Shaheem from the fans, because I mean he was the highest graded defensive back Alabama had last year. It's just, I think it speaks volume to the amount of talent they have in the secondary that a guy like Shaheem Carter might have to play here and there or find. I think he'll find a role. He definitely adds depth to the unit, if nothing else. But he's a guy that's very knowledgeable. He played that star position last year. He can play the star or that safety role. So he'll find his way on the field a lot. So I think he'll be there a good amount, and he's going to be somebody that's definitely going to contribute both on and off the field, because I think he's going to provide a lot of knowledge and help to some of these younger defensive backs as well.
Call line is open 205-686-3604. Coming to you from Voodoo Wings here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. We're definitely going to try out the wings after, so look for a wing review on BamaInsider.com. Some good options, but I've heard good things about Voodoo Wings, so definitely check them out and tell them BamaInsider.com sent you. I think when you also look at this game from just a matchup perspective, it's all Alabama on offense, on defense, probably special teams as well, but we don't know a lot about the Alabama special teams. We don't get to see them a lot during fall camp. Alabama looks like they will have a freshman at kicker. They will have a freshman at kicker, and Will Reichard. What has Saban said? He has talked about Will a couple times. What has he said about Will and the confidence that he has in Will going into the season? Because it's important that Alabama develops a good rhythm in the kicking game.
Look, Riker could do it all. He could be the place kicker, he could be the kickoff guy, and he could be the punter. I don't necessarily think Alabama wants to do that because you have to preserve that kid's leg. So obviously you'd want somebody else to hold another role. So I think Saban said tonight that he's going to use both Skylar DeLong and Will Reichard in the punting role. So I think maybe if I'm looking at it from Alabama's perspective, you probably want Skylar DeLong to win the punting role to take some pressure off of Reichard and some of the other roles. Maybe you'll give Reichard the kickoff and place kicking roles, and that can kind of save his leg. Because if he's doing everything, it could wear him down throughout the season. And we've seen a lot of progress from Skylar DeLong. He looked great during the 8A game. And
he really did.
Nick Saban said some good things about him, too. I think it's just really a case of Will Reichard's good at everything, and he's somebody that Alabama's really excited about. So he could and probably will have several roles on this team, if not all of them.
Now, when looking at Alabama's schedule, their schedule has been criticized. I've been critical of it, saying that it is not their strongest schedule. I mean, you open up with Duke, you got New Mexico State. But that third game against South Carolina, it seems more interesting as we inch closer to it just because of the news that has happened recently with Dylan Moses being out for the season and now Alabama starting 2 freshmen. How important is it that this team develops some sort of strong identity sooner than later with it's going to be a challenging game in Columbia going against South Carolina?
You look at the last time they went to South Carolina in 2010 and they lost, and that was kind of the first game of that unraveling of that season. So it's a tough place to play. And like you said, I think it's their first test. It's their first road game, their first true road game. This one's going to be a neutral game. So first road game at SEC environment, and you're going to have a lot of young players on defense. So, yeah, I think you're right. They need to get kind of their feet settled, kind of understand the defense a lot more heading into that kind of environment, because if you're trying to pick up signals from the sidelines, you can't do that as a linebacker, and and now you're playing against an SEC team. It's going to be really tough. So they'll have 2 kind of, I don't want to call them practice runs because Duke's an ACC team as well, but they'll have 2 games that they shouldn't be challenged as much in, and then they'll head, I think that'll be their first, test of the season.
Following South Carolina, they take on Southern Miss. That game's at home. Ole Miss, that game is at home. And then the big one in October against Texas A&M and Jimbo Fisher. And Jimbo be salivating to get his hands on being the first former assistant to defeat Nick Saban, although Muschamp has an opportunity before that. But Texas A&M should be a great opponent in a very daunting environment.
Yeah, I mean, and it's going to happen one of these days. I mean, somebody's going to knock – one of Saban's assistants has to knock him off,
Pretty
right?
soon it'll be every coach in the NFL, in college football will be under Saban.
So unless he goes undefeated. No. But, no, Texas A&M is going to have a good team this year. They're probably one of Alabama's biggest challengers in the SEC West, and they'll have a shot at Alabama in College Station, Texas. I don't want to say it's on a plate for him because I'd still pick Alabama, but it's, you got to pick your opportunities to knock off a giant, and I think it's there for them at least to have the chance of doing so. I think that they're in a position where they could possibly spring that upset. I'm not sure if they will, but that's definitely something that they have circled, and I'm sure that they feel confident about that game heading into it.
We're coming to you from Voodoo Wings here, now opened in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Be sure and check them out. And tell them BamaInsider.com sent you. Call line is open, 205-686-3604. Call into the show. Make your game prediction. If you get it correct, you get a gift certificate, $25 to Alumni Hall, and you also get a gift certificate to Voodoo Wings. And while you're at it, sign up for a free subscription to BamaInsider.com. 30 days free. No better time to join. Actually, the promo is still running that if you sign up now, you can get $75 to Adidas. you can get 25% off your annual subscription. You can get $25 to the alumni store, and you can get a gift certificate to Voodoo Wings. It's like, come on, join the team. Join BamaInsider.com. So definitely check it out. 205-686-3604 is the number to call. I think when you look at the college football spectrum, by the way, can you guys keep that Clemson and Georgia Tech score coming in? I also want to know if Texas A&M, are they winning that game?
Oh, they're playing. They have to be winning that one.
Right? I would like some updates, please. But as we look at the college football spectrum, Clemson, I watched the first quarter of that game, very strong. Georgia Tech, very weak. But I think that Georgia could be a team that has all the components to take down either Clemson or Alabama. I think that they're a team that's well coached. I think they match up well on both sides of the football. And quite simply, I think Kirby Smart in Georgia, no one's really talking about them. They seem kind of pissed off going into this season. What do you think? Is Georgia the bad moon rising in college football?
I think they could be. They've got a really talented squad too, and I think everyone just wants to make it, you're right, they just want to make it Alabama and Clemson, and I think that Georgia's right there. I think especially now with, the injuries and the setbacks that Alabama's had, it kind of evens the playing field at least a little bit. So I don't think Georgia's too far off. I still think I'd put Alabama and Clemson ahead of them, but the level in between all three schools is not actually that big.
Is there anyone else? Is there no one else, as Brad Pitt says in Troy, that could challenge these three teams? I mean,
I think you'd throw in Oklahoma and Ohio State in that mix just at the moment. I mean, I have to see both of those teams, but I think that that's a strong 5 as well. Outside of that 5, I think the drop-off's a little bit bigger. And I'd have to see what Oklahoma and Ohio State bring, but I would kind of throw them into that, 1B or 2 tier.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I mean, Oklahoma, it seems like they have a lot of strong momentum now with Jalen Hurts, who did a great job here at Alabama. We're hearing Ohio State right here in the comment box, which I agree. I think we all got to figure out, what type of quarterback Justin Fields is and if he can really take the reins. What about Michigan? Does anyone think that does anyone take Michigan serious? Besides,
I would put them in a tier below.
Yeah,
maybe
even with
Texas.
With Josh Gaddis now as the OC?
Hey, I love Josh Gaddis. I think he did a great job.
Patterson
here
at quarterback. I mean, they got.
Oh, they've got a solid team. I just don't think that they're right up there with the 5 that we just mentioned. I think that outside of that 5, I think that there's just a big drop off. I think that you saw Florida ranked number 8 almost lost to Miami. Would you have been surprised if Florida lost to Miami? You wouldn't.
Not really.
Yeah, and they're a top 10 team.
They tried everything that they could to lose that game.
Yeah, I don't the way college football's set up right now, I don't think the top 10 means as much as it did, a few years ago, where a top 10 team, we'd be surprised to see them get bounced. There's a lot of teams in the top 10. Would you be surprised if Michigan dropped the game early?
Someone saying Texas team.
I think Texas the same way I think of Michigan. I wouldn't be surprised if they won their conference, but then if Texas got bounced, I don't know their schedule off the top of my head, but if Texas got bounced early on, would you be shocked?
No.
It happens every year.
Yeah, and then I go to Orange Bloods and I'd read the message boards. I mean, it's just like the meltdown.
And that's not even I'm a proud Texan, all right? That's not a dig at Texas at all. It's just I'm right now would not be surprised if they lost. And I think they've got a good team, and I actually think that they, depending on how Oklahoma's offensive line does, Texas could make a run at the Big 12. But I would not be surprised.
Texas and LSU next week.
So that's a matchup
LSU,
of 2 teams that could play their way into the top 5. I think the winner of that game will start getting a lot of hype, and maybe deservedly so. We'll have to see how that game goes.
I'm kind of with Izzy Smith on this. Bo Nix, I have a big question mark with this. Him taking over the offense at Auburn and them taking on Mario Cristobal in Oregon. I think that's a game that everyone's excited to watch on Saturday. Now Auburn is a 6.5 favorite against Oregon, so it's going to be a tight game.
Auburn's always a team. From when I've been watching them, they're always a team that if the momentum gets off, if they get off to a good start, they can get dangerous. Yeah. Once you start giving Auburn that momentum and they start believing in themselves, they make magic happen. And you see a lot of the crazy stuff that happens with Auburn, and it always happens when they build that momentum. Conversely, if Auburn gets off to a bad start, they tend to fall apart as a team in recent years as well. So I think it's very important to see how Bo Nix starts off, and he's a kid with a lot of potential, but that's a lot to ask from a true freshman. I mean, but obviously at Alabama, that worked out pretty well with Jalen Hurts when he was a true freshman here. So it can be done. It's just a tough task.
Hey, I wanted to remind you guys, and we got a great feature tomorrow from Tony Sukalis right here on DJ Dell. That video will premiere tonight on YouTube at 10 p.m. Be sure and check it out. You can see the thumbnail right now. It's called Making DJ Dell. Tony, why don't you give us a little teaser about your story that will be our Friday feature on BamaInsider.com.
Yeah, so this is definitely a story about just how DJ Dale kind of transformed himself this summer. He lost upwards of 20 pounds. I talked to this trainer, and we just talked about just Leonard Stevens is his trainer out of Birmingham, and we just talked about what the process was of getting him to lose the weight. He did a lot of unique positional training that kind of not only helped DJ lose the weight, but also advance his skills that he's going to need as a nose guard. And also DJ started eating cleaner, and DJ is a kid that he trained with Quinnen Williams and Deron Payne, and they're all Birmingham kids, and I think he's the next in line. So I think he's definitely somebody to watch. Out of all the freshmen Alabama has, I think he's probably the one that I would tab to have the best year this year. Yeah,
I think I've seen the video, and I've seen DJ Dell obviously in person going to Alabama's practices, and I think the video will give you a really good depiction of the athleticism that DJ Dell has, and it's really superior. And the thing that you have to remember about DJ Dell, and I always talk about this, he came to Alabama in December of 2018. So think about how long he's been here in the program, within the process. So he had December, January, February, March in Alabama's program. He's already been training, already been working hard, competed very well during the springtime. Summer, obviously, he took care of business, and he came in very fresh. I know he had that sprained knee, but he looks 100% from what we've seen going into this football game, and I think he's someone that's very, very special. Replacing Quinnen Williams, who's doing a great job with the Jets, is not going to be very easy for anybody. But then again, the year before, we almost said the same thing with Deron Payne. Remember? Deron Payne was like, no one's going to replace Deron Payne. And it's like, Quinnen Williams, welcome to the show with your braces and all.
And I wouldn't be surprised if DJ Dale's the next person. He's kind of really disciplined. I mean, plug the Voodoo Wings, but I think this would be a favorite place of DJ Dale. He's a big chicken wing fan. That's one of the things I talked with his trainer about, is cutting out actually those chicken wings. But so it's kind of funny that we're doing this here and talking about him. But he's a guy that stayed religious on the diet. He worked out really hard, while other defensive linemen on Alabama maybe didn't come in as good a shape. It allowed DJ Dale to kind of really lock down that starting job. And I think just that discipline that he showed this offseason shows how serious he is and how locked in he is.
Hey, speaking of wings, heading over to Voodoo Wings, there's nothing better that pairs better with college football than wings. Everybody knows that. I mean, it's like Christmas and Santa Claus. I mean, they go together. Voodoo Wings now in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, across from the Waffle House. Great access, easy to get to, very close proximity to your tailgates, to Bryant-Denny Stadium. Check them out. Got a ton of great wing options. That's where we're coming to you. So be sure and check out Voodoo Wings in Tuscaloosa. Got 3 locations, one in Auburn, one in Henderson, Nevada, and now one in Tuscaloosa. Hey, call into the show, 205-686-3604. And I'm going to have my call-in show again on Sunday as well. We're going to, go over everything from Alabama and Duke, so you guys can have another opportunity. But tonight, I'm giving you the opportunity to win a $25 gift card to the Alumni Hall Store, a gift certificate to Voodoo Wings. And, I always say, check out BamaInsider.com for free 30 days. The promo code is simply Roll Tide. I've seen someone on the comment box, Pops Jr., mentioning something about Ali Cajo. And we get this question a lot, why isn't he playing? Why isn't, he and him and Jalen Moody, potential for him to transfer? I mean, I don't know if I see that.
You get that about a lot of players. There's so much talent when we get to this kind of level of football, and especially in a team like Alabama. There's so much talent. So just because a kid's not playing doesn't necessarily mean he's bad. It doesn't mean that doesn't even necessarily mean that he's not performing well. It just means that somebody else is performing higher than he is.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly it. I mean, you look at Alabama football, the entire roster is really a farm league for the NFL, and it's like Antonio Alfano is a great example of this. People are like, oh, he's not in the too deep. He's done. He's terrible.
He's
He's a freshman. He just got here. There's Raekwon Davis. There's LeBron Ray. There's DJ Dell.
I mean DJ Dill's the exception. I mean,
sure.
Alabama doesn't normally start defensive linemen on the freshmen on the defensive line. So I think that just is a testament to how well DJ Dale has performed, not a knock on Alfano. I think not everything's so black and white. Somebody can do good, and that doesn't mean that somebody else is doing bad.
Question from actually Nick Saban Jr. on the comment box. What's up with Markel Benton?
I think Markel Benton, nothing. I think he's going to be in the mix for that linebacker spot. I'd be interested to see if he comes in during the dime, because you got to think, when you're in the dime formation and you only have one linebacker on the field, you're going to need that linebacker to kind of know what he's doing. And Markel Benton probably at this point knows what he's doing more than the two freshman linebackers. So I wouldn't be surprised if they work him in the dime package. I'm not sure if that's what they're going to do. They might just use Shane Lee, but it will be interesting to see if maybe that's his role.
I think Pete Golding has plenty of options. They're razor thin, and I do like Cajo. I think he's put on some good weight year over year. I do like Jalen Moody. I think he's super athletic. I mean, he let the pads do the talking last year. I think he'll get on the field. Markel Benton's another guy that knows the program. But these two freshmen, seem like Saban said, and I actually – I've said this before. Those guys are thumpers. Like Shane Lee, who wants to get crushed by him? Nobody. Who wants to get crushed by Christian Harris? Nobody. And I think what's great about these two freshmen going into this game is they might not know the terminology, but I think with these guys, from a coaching perspective, you just say, hey, go play. Hit the guy with the football. We'll get the terminology as we move forward, but do your thing. Just go play. And earlier
Saban talked about that tonight. He said that that they're not going to have a problem playing the football aspect of it, the going out and hitting somebody. The problem's going to be getting the calls from the sidelines, and that stuff can come. The stuff the talent aspect of it, they already have. They're fast. They can hit hard. They can cover. It's just learning the playbook and learning how to relay the signals, and that stuff can come. And I think that's another reason why it's a good thing that this happened early in the season for Alabama, because now they'll have enough time to adapt. By the time at the end of the season, they won't really be freshmen anymore.
Now let me ask you this. If things don't go like Saban wants them to, if things don't go the way Golding wants them to with the linebackers, and it's going to take them a little bit more time, do you think that they could potentially move anyone over from the outside linebacker group to inside linebacker? And if so, who would that be?
I mean, you saw Ben Davis play both positions during his time here, so maybe that could be an option.
Could you imagine if Ben Davis trotted out in the field as a starting linebacker?
I don't think that will happen. But
could you imagine, what would happen?
The only reason why I'd be surprised about it is because he spent all of practice working with the outside linebackers. But yeah, I think that he's a guy that if you were going to try to create more depth at the inside linebacker, you might put him there. But the depth's not, crazy big on the outside, especially after the loss of Yabi Anoma. So you really don't want to start pulling from the outside, then you're going to be thin there. So I think they're probably set with what they have at each position.
You don't think like a guy like Chris Allen, because he played with the inside linebackers before, I think, last year.
Yeah, he could, and maybe if they want to go there, but I think he's going to create havoc on the edge, and they need that guy as a backup at that position. So if they wanted to go that route, they have some options, but I don't actually see them going that route.
All right, we're coming to you from Voodoo Wings here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. He's Tony Sukalis. I'm Kyle Henderson. Just a little pregame football talk before Alabama takes on Duke, and it's felt like this week has just dragged, right? It's like this final week before Alabama plays. It's like you've talked about everything. There's nothing else to talk about. We've talked about every single aspect, and then we're hit with some big news earlier in the week. And to get back to the suspensions, I mean, we don't even know if those suspensions are really going to go through. We don't know if they're for a quarter. We don't know if they're for a half. I think everybody, you've seen that meme with those cats just typing as fast as they can when any type of news comes up. It's like everyone's grasping at straws just to talk about college football, but there's plenty of football on tonight. This one's kind of interesting right here. Cincinnati's beating UCLA 24-17, and then as everyone on the board has posted, Clemson and Texas A&M rolling through with it. You can find us all the time back at BamaInsider.com. And like I said earlier in the show, you can catch Tony's feature on DJ Dell. The video is going to premiere at 10 p.m. and then you can catch the story right when you wake up at BamaInsider.com. We'll let that on the front page. So it'll be great stuff. So you can call in. We'll leave the call-in line open for just a few more minutes, and then we're going to try a sample of these wings here at Voodoo. Let me show you the. I thought I had. Let me see if I had another option of their wings. I thought I did. I had like the whole list. There it is. Yeah. It came in like monster sized. See, I have to crop photos live on air. All right. We got a call in. All right. I think we already took a call from this area. All right, you're on the line with Kyle Henderson and Tony Scalis. Is the Voodoo Wings hotline. Who are on the line with him? Where you calling from?
Maryland.
You're calling. This is a double caller. Okay, so you don't qualify with 2 picks for the call-in show for the prize, but you can obviously chat with us. So good to hear from you again. Thanks for calling back. What's on your mind right now?
I called earlier, but I just have one question.
Yeah, sure.
Are you surprised that Landon Dickerson got the start, or is that just because of the suspension of Deontay Brown?
Oh, no, I think he's actually a really good prospect.
Yeah.
He's a huge kid, and he's definitely somebody that can provide some power. I mean, obviously the suspension of Deontay Brown created opportunities in the offensive line, but I think that, Landon Dickerson would have competed for that spot regardless. I think he's going to be a guy that Alabama's going to be really happy with. He's a guy that can play center, and he's a guy that can play guard. So I think right now I see him at that right guard position with, next to Jedrick Wills. So a lot of power on this line. If you think about Dickerson at right guard and Neal at left guard, that's a lot of push right there.
Yeah, and I agree completely with Tony. I mean, what we've seen from Landon Dickerson has been nothing but great things. I mean, he's got a great push off the football. He's a big kid. I mean, listed at 6'6", 308. He might be a little bit bigger than that. Wears it well, and I think he's worked his way on, not because of his name or where he came from. I think he's just Nick Saban's really liked him, and I think he makes the best 5 on this unit. So no, I'm not really surprised, but I think. What'll happen with the offensive line, I think it'll be positive because once Deontay Brown does come back, it'll be added depth. And as you know, the season is a grind. And I think him and Matt Womack, Deontay Brown and Matt Womack could serve as some great guys coming off the bench.
Everyone talks about, the wide receiver position, the running back position. But if you look at this offensive line, Alabama is really deep on the offensive line.
Yeah.
It's one of the strengths. It's one of the best offensive lines I think they've had in a while, and that's saying something because Alabama typically has a pretty strong offensive line.
Definitely. Anything else while you're on the air?
No, that's all.
Hey, well, thanks for the double call. We appreciate it. Please call again on Sunday night.
Thank you.
All right, take it easy, buddy. All right, that was a great question. I'm glad to hear someone talking about Landon Dickerson because he's certainly impressed us. And I think you're right, Tony. I think, everyone talks about the wide receivers being completely stacked, which they are. But the offensive line, so many guys that are going to contribute this year.
Yeah. I think what we're seeing is Alex Leatherwood, Evan Neal, Chris Owens, Landon Dickerson, and Jedrick Wills Jr., and that's pretty good. But then you look at, some of the options on the second team. You got Scott Lashley, you got Matt Womack, you got Emil Ekiyor.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Emil Ekiyor is
Deontay Brown when he comes back.
I respect his game a ton.
He might even be a position. He might even, be an option at that center position.
Yeah.
So
Chris Owens, he's been doing
another
his
guy
thing.
too, and he's more experienced. I think right now that definitely helps.
And like Tony said, Evan Neal, you guys have seen the footage of him. He's a monster. But
everyone on this offensive line is actually huge.
Yeah.
So
you posted that 6'7" club. Right?
Yeah. And the Dickerson's just 6'6", just a short 6'6". So, yeah.
Let's see. Do we think Chadarius Townsend will play? Yeah, Chadarius Townsend will play. He should, right?
Yeah, I think it kind of depends on the suspensions of the.
It depends how long that first quarter is, first half is, or whatever they're going to do. But I mean, he's been a guy that was moved back to the running backs after Trey Sanders went down. He's another guy, you know.
He can do a lot.
He can do a lot.
He can
yeah, exactly.
be a receiver. He can be a running back. He can, you know, catch passes out of the backfield. So I think he's just kind of a guy that can add an element if they need that element to be added.
Who gets the first start at running back?
I don't know. I don't know. I think it might speak to how well Jerome Ford's recovered from his injury.
I would say from what I saw from Jerome Ford on Wednesday,
he looks pretty good.
He looked good. I would say Jerome Ford. I think, you know, if Najee and Brian, if they truly are out, I think the best running back and the guy who deserves it is Jerome Ford. He did a great job during the springtime. He had a great fall camp. I think a lot of people really on the coaching staff respect his game. So if he's ready to go, I think it's Jerome Ford. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Jerome Ford. Oh. No. So the hair, of course, man. Yeah. How do I puff it up? It's actually a small brush with a blow dryer, and just takes about 2 seconds. I'm out the door. So not too hard. Yeah, so coming to you from Voodoo Wings here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. The call-in show is still available. You can call in 205-686-3604. We got Tony's DJ Dell video coming up at 10, and then tomorrow the feature on BamaInsider.com. Recruiting show was earlier today with Andrew Bone. A ton of visitors headed to Atlanta to watch Alabama and Duke take on each other in the Chick-fil-A. So what happens with for the media, since it's sponsored by Chick-fil-A, they have all these Chick-fil-A sandwiches. So
right.
If you're a fan of Chick-fil-A, you know, you'll get your healthy dose on Saturday. But you know, thanks for watching tonight. You can call in again, 205-686-3604. You can actually leave a voicemail. I'll play it on the next show, but I'll be back on Sunday. I'll be running solo that time to talk about Alabama and Duke. Our schedule tomorrow, we'll get geared up and get ready for Alabama's first game from Atlanta, Georgia. And then, you know, we're bringing tons of coverage right here on BamaInsider.com. You got, you know, analysis from the game, anything that happened team-wise, interviews with the players, interviews with Nick Saban, tons of observations. You want it, you got it, back at BamaInsider.com. Remember, the promo code is simply Roll Tide. He's Tony Scoss. I'm Kyle Henderson, along with Andrew Bowman. Make up BamaInsider.com. Check out Voodoo Wings when you get an opportunity here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Tell them BamaInsider.com sent you. We will talk to you soon on BamaInsider.com. Catch you guys Saturday, Sunday, every single day. BamaInsider.com. Thanks for watching, everyone.